That's making an awkward noise. What's her problem?
I don't know. Put your phone down.
Okay, guys. Well, that's a wrap for today because the police just took 2 of our camera guys away with them. So we're not really sure why, but supposedly they had all the permits and they still took them.
Hey everyone, we want to share a recent experience that we had that was a little different than our normal travels. I'm nervous. Now, every job has good days and bad days, and well, you could say that this job was not one of our best weeks.
So we were invited to Saudi Arabia to be on-camera hosts. Think Anthony Bourdain or Josh Gates, just a much smaller production.
And what trip to Saudi Arabia would be complete without a... Start over.
Legally, we can't say who it was with, and that's all we'll say about that.
Let's outline what we're going to talk about in this video. Why we chose to go to Saudi Arabia, what you need to know before you go to Saudi Arabia, and the juicy part, what actually went down when we were in Saudi Arabia.
If you didn't know, in 2019, Saudi Arabia finally opened its borders to tourism.
44, 100% pure. Just through the other door, please.
So think about that. For our entire lifetimes, it's been closed off to almost the entire Western world.
The country has a goal of attracting 100 million tourists by 2030. Now they're basically trying to become the next Dubai. You might have seen images like this, or videos from people like Devin Supertramp. When we first received this invitation to Saudi Arabia, we were a little hesitant to accept, mainly because of what we know about Saudi Arabia's human rights policies and their extreme restrictive policies, especially towards women.
Our main concern was that we didn't want to be a mouthpiece that was maybe promoting these beliefs. So when we were talking in the negotiations, we said that was rule number 1. We wanted to be in control of what was being said and how it was being said.
So we actually said no.
No! No! No!
When this project first came to us, because we just didn't feel comfortable accepting that.
But the team came back, and after some consideration and talking with friends, we realized this could be a great opportunity. As experienced travelers, we like to keep an open mind. And if the Saudi Kingdom wants to extend an olive branch, we thought this is a great opportunity to help build relationships.
As storytellers and travelers, part of our job is to take risks and put ourselves in uncomfortable positions. That way we can experience things and educate all of you guys.
So once we accepted, that's when the excitement started, and also a little bit of fear. We had so many questions. What could we bring? What do we need to wear? What's going to be expected of us? When you go to research traveling to Saudi Arabia, there's not a lot of information out there. There's some of the blogs are over 10 years old, so we were kind of shooting blind a little bit.
And as a woman, I was even more hesitant because I had heard stories about how repressed women were in Saudi Arabia, and I don't really feel comfortable representing that. And as a type A businesswoman from New Jersey, hello, party's here, who's always been taught to speak her mind, I was a little hesitant and honestly nervous to go.
So our main concerns were 3 things. 1, for Colette specifically, what can she wear? And I was also concerned, what can I wear? The other thing was, can we bring in a camera? I mean, as videographers and storytellers, we want to bring our camera. The third thing is, can we bring in vitamins and prescriptions? You'd be shocked at the restrictions they have. They won't even let you bring in a simple thing like Benadryl. So let's get into each one of those problems.
So for what to wear, modesty is key, even for a gentleman like Scott. So while we were in Saudi, Scott wore loose-fitting clothes, t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, pants. It really wasn't acceptable to show your legs, so you didn't wear shorts. Now for me, same thing. You used to have to wear an abaya as a woman, but that recently got eradicated. So now I just had to wear loose-fitting clothes, which is not my normal thing, let's be honest. So I was wearing clothes that would cover my elbows, my knees, and my ankles, and was not form-fitting to my body. But I could wear a long dress, a loose-fitting dress, a long skirt, and I didn't have to wear a hijab on my head.
Okay, so the next thing was, could we bring our camera in? And if you look online, there were conflicting sources of information. Some said yes, some said no. And when we reached out to our team that we were working with, they said no. And so Colette and I decided to bend the rules just a little bit. And we decided not to bring our professional Sony camera, but we decided to bring our Canon EOS M6, which is much smaller than the Sony camera.
And now on to prescription drugs. So we needed to get a specific letter from our doctor dated within 6 months of the trip, stating exactly what prescriptions we were on, what the dosage was, and why we were on this, and it had to be signed by a doctor. Now, we also only brought the exact amount that we needed for the prescription, just so we didn't set off any alarms if they were to look into our prescription bottles. This is not normal in any other country, but it is the rules in Saudi.
We are getting ready to board our flight from LA to Frankfurt on Lufthansa 747. Now, this is a double-decker, and we are on the top deck, whoop, whoop, and it's kind of akin to like how travel used to be in the 70s. It's like the party deck up top. At least I like to think so.
We flew from Los Angeles to Frankfurt and then Frankfurt to Riyadh. Now, one of the things you have to know is that there's no alcohol allowed in the Saudi kingdom.
What you doing over here?
I'm making an Aperol spritz while I still can.
Someone is fear drinking right now.
I'm fear drinking. It's like when you don't know when you're going to see alcohol again.
I will not die sober.
Okay, this was the first unique experience. We just had an announcement that no more alcohol is allowed, so I just had to go pick up that. The other announcement was you have to return any magazines. No naughty magazines allowed inside.
And as we entered, I noticed a lot of women putting on abayas and covering their bodies up. So I did the same. I wrapped my head in a scarf as we came in for a landing. And once we landed and we headed into customs, that's when the real fear started. We were nervous. Are they gonna take our cameras? Are they gonna check my prescriptions? Are we gonna be separated? We just didn't know what to expect, and I think our fear kind of got hold of us.
I'm nervous.
But honestly, when we were going through customs, all we needed to show were our visas. And we breezed through, and there were no issues whatsoever, so all of our fears were kind of completely gone out the window.
Good morning, everyone. It's day 1. We made it safely to KSA, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Hi, everyone. Don't we look so fresh and not jet lagged? It's just an act. We're very tired.
What'd you do this morning?
I worked out. There's a women's gym and a men's gym. I was told originally that there would be no gyms for women, but the Marriott had its own separate gym for women. So
She
up
gets
comes
her
some iron.
own gym. It's like, what was that gym back in the day, Curves? It's like women's only? Yeah. I don't know if that's still, it's probably still in existence. And the first mistake that I made was, every place that I read, they said don't bring shorts because I can't wear it. Day 1, what do they say? Wear shorts. I don't have any shorts, so I'm gonna be sweating profusely. Let's go. Made it to our first stop. This is the whole crew.
Red sand dunes.
Colette is the only girl here, but she's pretty enough for everyone. We got the four-wheelers in the back, the caravan. Those are the 3 vehicles. Kind of trying to figure out right now what the plan is. Looks like we're just gonna be doing some four-wheeling on these beautiful dunes. Look at this sand, it's so red. Woo. Best thing I could describe this as is Monument Valley of the Middle East, right?
Plus sand dunes. I don't know if Monument Valley has sand dunes, but the rock formations here look like Monument Valley.
And unfortunately, from the very beginning, we realized that this production crew was just struggling to be organized. We showed up to our shoot location, which was a desert, at 11 a.m.
We made it, we're on the bikes, we're on the red sand dunes. I think Coco's just a little nervous.
And as soon as we got there, they said, we're sorry, but we're gonna have to wait. The light isn't right. Now, I know not all of you guys are part of production, but one of the main things that you have to worry about is the lighting. For most of us on Earth, the sun rises and sets each day. We're all kind of accustomed to it. And these guys were kind of shocked that the sun was in the wrong position at 11 o'clock in the morning. So we basically just had to wait it out until the sun got better to then start shooting. Needless to say, the little intuition, the little voice in my head was starting to get louder and saying, I don't know if I really trust this team.
So we are on the four-wheelers. There's Coco. And there's the crew. I think they call this the money shot. I don't know. It's supposed to be action-packed, and we're supposed to zig and zag behind this car. Car almost got stuck once. Let's hope it doesn't get stuck again. So we were doing all right all day, and we had a bit of a boo-boo with the car. Here's the headlight. The car's open over the hill over there. Usually these things are actually paired together. We tried to go over this little hill, which doesn't look like much. It's like a four foot just straight drop off, which this guy can handle, but that guy cannot. So that guy's pretty bummed right now. But the car is not okay.
But sometimes you just have to go with the flow of things because that's what production is. But just as we thought things couldn't get any worse, then some drone issues happened. One, they didn't have the software to fly the drone. They didn't know how to fly the drone. And then they crashed the drone. Now this is day one, so we didn't have a drone for the rest of the shoot. And, it was off to a subpar start. That was day one.
All right, with day one behind us and one drone down, it was time to fly from Riyadh to Jeddah. And it was when we arrived here when we almost got arrested.
Let's make an awkward noise. What's her problem?
I don't know. Put your phone down.
That's us getting shut down. Shutting us down for the day. Even though we have permits. Sorry, cameras. You don't get to work today.
Our shoot's getting shut down because even though we have permits, actually I don't know why. We have permits, but we're getting shut down by the police, so.
Okay, guys. Well, that's a wrap for today because the police just took 2 of our camera guys away with them. So we're not really sure why, but supposedly they had all the permits and they still took them. I mean, this is supposed to be with...
But after a long discussion, the police took 2 of our crew away. Uh-oh. And then we found out they wanted to take us to jail. They said, we want those 2, they're coming with us. And somehow our crew managed to tell them that we were just tourists and it would look bad. And I'm really grateful we didn't go to Saudi prison because we definitely would have been separated and I don't think they would have been very nice to women, that's my guess, or to you either. But that was terrifying. Day 2 and we almost went to Saudi prison and we thought we were gonna be protected here. We thought we were just gonna be shooting something that would even, help Westerners' view of Saudi Arabia, but that was a wrap on day 2.
Turns out, unfortunately, it was just a small clerical error on our permits that was corrected pretty quickly, and we are ready to go for day 3. So we've talked a lot about the chaos of this whole trip and this project, but one of the silver linings we had was making a really close friend. So our security guard, his name is Omar, he was one of the first guys who just took us in and decided to befriend us. And it was like day 2 when we were hanging out, and he said, what are you guys doing for dinner? And we said, well, no one's really taken us to dinner. We've just had to order room service because there's nowhere for us to go. And he said, I'm gonna take care of you. And he took us to this local spot and actually wouldn't even let us pay. I said, hey, listen, you know what? This is part of the production. We can expense it. And he's like, no. You're my guest. I'm gonna take care of you. It was during this time where our love for travel was reignited again. Even though we had all the problems, we realized that sometimes you can have the great stories like this and being able to meet wonderful people like Omar. So Omar, if you're out there, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So when the project came to a close and we got home, we kind of took inventory of everything that happened. And a lot of people were asking us, do you regret going? And the answer is no, we really don't. We just feel like we missed out on the true experience of Saudi Arabia. I mean, we got to make good friends with Omar, but unfortunately we were working with the wrong team. And that's really the only downfall.
I think we also regret not listening to our guts from the get-go. We knew something was off with the production, but we also saw it as an opportunity. So I think in the future, we'll trust our guts a bit more before deciding to say yes to a project.
And so a lot of people ask us, should we go to Saudi Arabia? And our answer is, wait a second. You need to be a very experienced traveler before you decide to take this leap. This is not for the weekend adventurer or the posh cruise traveler. This is for the person who's really looking to be the first person to go to a destination and is okay accepting a little risk, meaning uncomfortable risks, with taking that journey.
Now, for all you solo females out there, I would not say to go just yet. It's just not ready for you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I think if you are traveling with a male, like your husband, I think it would be okay in the next few years. But honestly, I wouldn't recommend it just yet.
We hope you guys like this. As always, I'm Scott.
And I'm Colette.
And we are Roamaroo.
And if you like what you saw, please like and subscribe below.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Shukran.